Hello, everybody, and welcome to Champagne Sundays with your hosts, Lisa and Nancy, editors of BigBlendMagazine.com.
Welcome, everybody. Happy Champagne Sundays. It is March 29th, 2020, and we are broadcasting live from the beautiful and historic Homestead Inn in 29 Palms, California. It is just outside Joshua Tree National Park and the Mojave Trails National Monument. This is beautiful, and I encourage you to take a look at where we are. Go to the website, the number 29in.com. And, hey, it's for sale. If somebody wants to buy it, and we're sad about that because our friend Jerry runs it, and she wants to retire. So toast to Jerry, right, Nancy?
Mm-hmm.
I know.
Yeah, this place is magical.
It is magic. It is such a beautiful day in the desert. The cactus are blooming. The palm trees are blowing in the breeze. You know, it's just beautiful out here. So anyway, today we have a special guest co-host joining us, our friend Marisa China Hammerbeck. And now, you know, her and her husband Gunnar make the coolest, most awesome product on the planet.
Our favorite.
And I don't know if our Love Your Park story, I know many of you know we travel full-time visiting and documenting parks across the country, but this is what keeps our sanity. Hiking and PortoVinoing, and this is what they create, these amazing wine purses. We have the backpack and a tote bag where our sock monkey Priscilla lives in the tote bag, you know, and pops out and goes, where's my champagne? But these, you basically can travel with your wine, your tequila. Our next guest, Rayya, first guest joining us, she wanted to know about tequila. Yes, you can put whatever you want. It will carry a liter and a half of your favorite beverage and store it discreetly and keep it chilled or hot if you want hot toddies. And you can just, you know, whip it out and pour and go. You know, it's a good time. So check out porto-vino.com. So welcome back, Marisa. How are you?
Great. Thanks. So excited to be here with you today hosting. And, yeah, always fun to have see your PortoVinos with a view. And as we all try to, like, enjoy different views with our PortoVino in little different times right now, but still fun.
Yeah, you can still get out. You know, our friend Elaine Masters, she's a travel writer, tripwellgal.com. She just did a Facebook thing where she went out. She's in San Diego, and they had Takeout Tuesday across the country where you support restaurants that, you know, can serve takeout during this, you know, wonderful virus time where we're all quarantined in, but you could go out, do this, and she went to a secluded area, got her sushi, and she sat there and PortoVinoed with sake, and she brought her little sake cup and everything, and I'm like, dude, man, she's traveling with style. So we ran outside and went to, we did get to Joshua Tree Park, and everyone, if you go to nationalparktraveling.com, you look on Love Your Parks tour at the top, click on it, you'll see we have a map of all the parks we've been to. We're adding more right now because we managed to get 5 more in. We're getting to almost 190 parks, and one of our maps is our PortoVino map where you can follow our adventures where we sit and sip wine after a hike. And we did one at Mojave Trails National Monument. We looked out at Amboy Crater. We sat amongst wildflowers and lava rock and sipped wine far away from people. And we also did Joshua Tree National Park, and that was very cool. So we've been busy, Marisa.
That is great. I know. It's so fun to see all the places you go with it. And the backpack's great right now for, like, hikes, whether you're with the family or just by yourself and, you know, go out somewhere far from everybody else, and you can pour the drink of your choice and have some snacks along with it and, you know, entertain yourselves and while social distancing.
Yes, that's it.
I swear we have a flock of birds that follow us wherever we go. They don't care what state we're in. They come down, they're like, what's in that pouch?
I know.
Smell it.
The girls have the wine. They have the wine.
I should start marketing to birds. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, right. Well, we have to hold the backpack away, you know. There's some big birds out there that'll take them away. The crows and ravens are like, hey, I'm going to get that backpack. I want to talk about
stories.
Who's coming on the show today? We have Jan Close joining us. Jan has been on our show before. Actually, it's almost like 2 years ago with his album In Tandem. Award-winning pop singer-songwriter, amazing talent. And it's great, you know, the last time he was on the show we were talking about all our connected travels. He was raised in Kenya and South Africa, and he's from Germany, and he's lived in England, and I think he's out in the Bronx area now. I can't keep up with him. You watch him on social media, and he's like in another country every day kind of thing. So excited to bring him back on the show. He's launching a new single this coming month called Pilot Light. It's awesome. We're going to play it, and also talk about he's getting all these millions of views of his videos, his music on videos. So we're going to be talking about that. Love You the Most. It's like I think 1.5 million views.
Wow.
Or streams. I got to get this straight. Yeah. He's kicking butt. And also we have Rayya Deeb joining us again. She's been on our show before, talking about the first book in her Seneca Society series. It's a young adult science fiction series. And we both say, Nancy and I both say, that this is for all ages. And the first one was Seneca Rebel. The second one is out now, Seneca Element. And go check out our website, senecasociety.com. But welcome back, Rayya. How are you doing?
Hey, I'm good. How are you? Thank you for having
me. I'm doing good. Yeah, if anybody just tuning in must have thought Nancy and I are complete lushes out there in parks.
Well,
But listen, now you've got beautiful areas. You're in Southern California, right, Rayya?
Yeah, I'm in Westlake Village, so we're about 20 minutes from Malibu and on the border of Los Angeles and Ventura.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful area. So a lot of good hiking, and you're able to get out and still kind of I call it physical distancing because I know. So look, we're not keeping our social distance right now with Champagne Sundays, right? But it's physical distance. Are you able to get out and get some fresh air?
I feel like we're really fortunate because we've had some rain, so it's really green, which is not the norm around here, and there's a lot of wide open space. We have a green belt. We've been doing a lot of family bike riding, and there's a really great park, Wildwood. It's I think they might have closed down today some of the open spaces around here. But yeah, it's been great because we've been able to spend a lot of time outside.
Yeah, and to me it's like it's family time too, which is pretty cool. And Marisa, you're out in the Phoenix area. So are you able to get out and about and get some fresh air as well in your region?
Yeah, same thing. There's some great greenbelt areas around us, and we've been going on family bike rides and morning hikes and runs and things like that. So we're lucky. Yeah, we try to get it in the morning because I think the trails, they're trying to, there are still too many people probably using the trails, unfortunately, around the same time. So we try to spread it out a little bit so we don't catch it when everybody else is around. But I like the distinction of physical distancing versus social distancing. That's a nice distinction.
Definitely.
Yeah. Because I think we are spending more time, and people are making phone calls and to loved ones that they don't normally have time to do, which we really should have time. So there's some positives coming through this negative situation. So there's always a positive, and we have wine and champagne, so I'm happy.
Alrighty then.
I'm just saying. Well, it is Champagne Sundays, so we love to toast, and the whole point. Champagne Sundays, our flagship show. We started Big Blend Radio over 12 years ago here in 29 Palms, just a few steps away from where Jerry's Homestead Inn is actually. And we said, okay, well, if we're going to do this and go live, this is a family tradition of having champagne on a Sunday. Really, it's about the bubbles and the tradition. It doesn't have to be, alcoholic at all. But we do love our champagne, so I'm just saying. So this is the thing we would always do is like have our moment together, especially before when we were in print publications. I'd be out traveling and doing all kinds of stuff. Nancy's computering, and so we're not, we didn't get to have that time together as much. And so Champagne Sundays was about getting together and being grateful no matter what is going on in the world, is to, look at the good and the positive. So I think right now, right, Nancy, this is more important than ever to keep Champagne Sunday tradition. So let's start with you, Marisa. What are you raising your glass to?
Oh, I'm raising my glass to just gratitude, like you said. In times like this, you have to be grateful for the little things. So, my family and just being able to be out and thankful for all the people that are, on the front lines helping out all the people who are sick. And so there's just, like I said, there's always like you said, I should say, you always have to look for that ray of light, and so I'm toasting to that.
I like
Awesome.
that. Hey, we've got a ray of light on the show. We got Rayya here, so
Perfect. I love that.
I know, it's like she's a ray of light here, and I love your books because really your characters, really there's this. It's like they're coming of age, right? And so there's always that, hey, doors out there. I am the ray of light. So I think there's a connection with that. But Rayya, what are you raising your glass to?
I feel like there's so much, especially right now. And I was thinking about this, like, in the moment of who I'm particularly grateful for right now. And, I mean, definitely everybody that's helping out, the first responders, the people that are working overtime in the grocery stores. But really, for me right now, the past couple weeks, my kids have been out of school, and I've seen the teachers scrambling to figure out new ways to bring lesson plans to the kids and creating a sense of normalcy for them. And my third grader has started a Zoom classroom on at 9:30 in the morning, and doing these really cool classes with her teacher, leading them and talking, just like they're, the school's doing the Pledge of Allegiance and having the morning announcements, and that's like, it's really incredible for me to see them doing this for our kids, because they need that, and continuing education that way, and like putting up Google Classrooms and finding ways to get them engaged and connected with each other. And I think that, so the teachers I'm really grateful for.
Oh,
yeah, that structure is important.
I toast to that too. Our friend Bobby DePorter has been on our show from day one. She's the co-founder of Super Camp. It's a world leader in summer academic achievement programs where teens and preteens stay in colleges for 10 days, 7 to 10 days, and learn about studying. They learn who they are as individuals, and they learn what's called the 8 Keys of Excellence. It's a character education development program that she created. It's a nonprofit. So everyone, if you check out 8keys.org right now, Family Time, it's amazing. These 8 Keys of Excellence, it's learning what integrity is, that failure leads to success. This is live in the moment. There's flexibility, learning what balance is. It's really about developing who you are and creating that confidence. And in light of what's going on with the coronavirus, her company, Quantum Learning Network, we just interviewed her yesterday. Was it yesterday, Nancy, or the day before? I can't keep up.
I think.
Yesterday. It was yesterday. I don't know.
Sure?
No, Friday. There it is. The days are blurring together with each sip of wine. But Bobby created this program to teach kids how to learn online, how to help them with e-learning. So they go online. It's qlmentors.com. Check it out. Remember that. Not bad for Champagne Sundays. And so they tap in and they learn how what their study profile is, how they do like an assessment to find out how they take in knowledge and retain it the best. I think that's really important. When I was in school, if I could have had that to teach me what my strengths are and how to study, because that's something that's being forgotten. They do that, and then from there they have a mentor that helps them, and then they partner with teams, and so they have a team activity all through this online thing. So
awesome.
This could be it kind of goes with your Seneca Society in a way, Rayya, doesn't it? This whole technology is growing, and sometimes it's not positive, but I think these are the things that are positive, especially for our youth.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I think it's all based on our choices. Technology is, to me, 100% based on what we decide for it to be. And
exactly.
with the kids, it's like, and especially, there's Corona, so there's just such this uncertainty, and our kids, I mean, having the stability with this technology, the Zoom classroom, it's like, it's giving them that, and, we're kind of like trying to find something, stability for them in this new time, and so I think it's wonderful.
Mhm.
Yeah, I have to say I couldn't agree with you more. I have high school students, and one of them is actually in quite a few AP classes, and they're still going to be taking the AP exam. So, it really is amazing how these teachers are trying to come up with plans to remotely teach, and it is having high school students in Rayya. I'm sure you have this with your kids too. There's that balance before the coronavirus, technology, and you want your kids on it all the time. But I think I've always kind of believed like there's so much good with technology for kids too, and we're able to see all that right now. It's just like how positive technology is if we use it the right way, like you said. So it's pretty awesome. I think it's teaching us all how to use technology in different ways to really optimize like our situations.
Mhm. Exactly.
Yeah, I agree.
I
mean, I'm like someone who wants my kids to have minimal screen time, and so I'm kind of coming to terms with it and figuring out the best use of it and balance with that, and
right.
Also having such a new appreciation because homeschooling is no joke. I mean, it's like what the teachers do is like it's unbelievable. I mean,
I've seen that Facebook meme going around where the mom's like, here, I'm teaching my kids fractions, so she takes out a bottle of wine and she pours a little in a glass, and she pours a little. This is how fractions work. It's like, oh my gosh, I have to go back to trigonometry,
Fractions are no joke.
I know they're not. When you start doing algebra and stuff, I'm like, heck no. Heck no. Nancy, what are you toasting to today?
Well, I'm going to toast to the power of the Internet, and just a slight reminder that every once in a while we'll be faced with a bill that has something to do with how the Internet should be run and whether it should be, neutral, or should companies have their way with it. So just a slight reminder to read those bills and make sure you vote accordingly, because right now you can see the importance of the Internet to us.
Exactly.
I toast to keeping it free. I'm not saying you're not paying for it. I'm saying people don't get to control it per company as I'd like to.
Ooh.
Sometimes.
You go
just
political
saying,
girl.
I'm not political. I'm just looking at the power of the Internet.
Yeah, I want to toast to using the Internet, and there's so many. You're talking about the teachers and how they're doing things, and I'm going to toast to the arts, authors, musicians, poets, filmmakers, and and also museums in the arts, and all these basically entertainment. How that is saving our souls, along with nature, getting out and taking fresh air, like getting fresh air. I know some friends were saying now you know why the dog wants to go out for a walk all the time, So that's important. But there's the arts. People turn to watch, all these musicians are doing live streams and, asking for tips through PayPal and things, which I'm hoping they're getting that and more, and getting actual downloads that are paid for, not just, free streaming, media. There's so much. A lot of museums, you can tour museums around the world right now for free. So our soul, people are watching Netflix and Hulu and things like that, right? And the arts are crucial. So once this is through, and even now, think about the power of the arts, the power of the pen, if people still use them. But the arts are what save our souls and keep us going and remind us that creativity is, the necessity of life. It is part of invention. It's part of entrepreneurship. It's part of everything. And so when things are like, hey, let's knock the arts out of school, we need to stand up and say, Shanae, nay, that's not happening, not in my house. We take care of the arts because the arts for sure are taking care of us right now.
They spur invention.
Exactly. So, and that being said, go to SenecaSociety.com and go to Amazon and buy Rayya's books. There you go. So, Rayya, let's turn to you on this, because when you think about, the power of the pen, when you put Seneca Society together, let's just start from the beginning. I know we've talked about Seneca Rebel when you first came on, but kind of give everybody an idea of where the idea of Seneca Society came from and what is Seneca Society.
So talk to you about how when I first started writing it or thinking about it, I had no idea what I was getting into. And I had one child at the time, and I was watching a documentary called Transcendent Man about the singularity between humans and machines and how that time is coming. It's like something. Ray Kurzweil, he was like co-founder of Google, I believe, and created the supercomputer at MIT, and he had this. I just was blown away by this whole idea and how it was speeding up, and it just became. It was, we're in this age of this like high speed velocity of the development of technology, and our kids are going to be in. They're going to be in it in a whole different way than we are, and I kind of wanted to understand what that was going to be for them. And so, what is it going to be like when they're in a quarter century with technology and its place in our lives? So the first book I wrote, Seneca Rebel, is playing that out in fiction. It's not it's sci-fi in the fact that it hasn't happened, but it's very realistic in that this is kind of some things I think might happen or have the potential to happen based on the technologies that we're developing now, and some that are already here that aren't really spoken about. And so that's really what the first book. It's like it's fast-paced. It's been categorized as young adult fiction because the character is a teenager, and it's pretty clean. There's no cuss words, and it can be in schools. It's really like a 7th grade reading level up, but the ideas are for all ages. And I've had a lot of feedback from people of all sorts of ages, and I think a lot of people that are, and parents can read it with their kids, and it's like opens up some communication about this stuff. So the second book, Seneca Element, came out in December, and it took me a long time to write because I wrote it when I had 2 kids, and I was getting used to that, and having a career and also being a mother and wanting to be able to do a great job at both, and that was a whole new challenge for me. And so the book also, the main character, it's very internal. It's an internal journey, and silencing a lot of the exterior noise and going inside, because I think that's also something that we all face. And I want to be able to inspire my kids one day when they can read this book to understand that, but through an exciting narrative. So,
well, Doro, your characters, I wanted to touch on it because Doro, I love their last name is Campbell, and that's a big name out here in 29 Palms. It's like one of the original homesteaders out here and everything. Really interesting story. But Doro, especially in Element, and it's interesting her journey of having, it's the science side of it, and you can tell everybody about, like basically there's like a computer in her, and it's like we all talk about chips being put in babies, right?
Yeah.
And chips in dogs to find them if they get lost. So it's kind of like a similar. Yeah, right. So, but she's doing that whole thing of second guessing your gut instinct for good reason, but it's something that a young girl's going to go through, and especially when it comes to her boyfriend, it's do you trust him, do you not? And so it's the science side of things, this technological side of things, but at the same time, I think what's really great is just about every young girl reading this, or young boy, or person has been through this, and they're going to really identify with that, because it is that coming of age part, right, for her.
Yeah, I think a lot of her journey is the question of trust, and just like you said, I mean, it's like there is that technology, and it is embedded in our life. It's embedded in our physical being more and more, and that's going to only accelerate. And so that you start to rely on that too much, and so then the question becomes trusting in technology versus trusting in yourself. and what's the right balance.
It really, if you think of everybody having chips in them, and then somebody somehow figures out how to control the chips, and they turn everybody into walking zombies or something. No thanks.
Well, this is a little different, right?
I know, but you know what I mean. Just the idea of having a chip in you is like, I don't even know if I would want to put a chip in a dog.
Well, don't go around George Costanza from Seinfeld. He'll eat you. No double dippers, But it's a very interesting thing because even Seneca Society now, when we're here with the COVID thing and you look at climate change and the world's, various crises that we have looming and happening, I think that it's also very timely for youth because I think, like right now, I think both you and Marisa, when you think about it, youth are scared. They don't understand what a virus is maybe, or they're understanding it and they're looking at their future. And there's an apocalyptic vibe to this. When you go downtown and there's no one there, it's like this, oh my God, the zombies are going to come out, So it's kind of, you know what I mean, to stay 6 feet back. And, so I think we're really entering a new era, and I think your books really tie in with what's happening now, Rayya.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Thanks. I hope so.
I also think I love the idea that the discussion that it brings to the table. Because I think we all theoretically we all have these ideas of like the future, right, and what it's going to be. But when you read it through the eyes of characters that you develop and so forth, then and especially when you have kids who are of the ability to be able to read it and understand it, and before it happens, to even contemplate and talk together about what do you think of that? Because once you lay that foundation in their head that this is something that could happen, like then you're almost allowing them to pre-think about it before it just kind of happens. Should it happen as you wrote it, for example, it gives them pause to think before that kind of thing occurs, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
Yeah, tell me a little bit more about that.
You.
Even with your third grade, your third grade, did you say she's a daughter? Your daughter?
Yes, I have a third grader and a kindergarten, both daughters.
Okay. Oh, fun. So, I know she's younger than but still, the concepts, you obviously, you could do it in a fun way, right? To still talk about it, to say, hey, what if, but.
I think a lot of these things that we're talking about, one is, being able to talk about these things and think about them in advance of them happening. Also the arts and the importance of that. The being able to read fiction and not be fed things in snippets, like they are on the internet. And also fear, is a big thing. You just mentioned that. Not wanting to let them just get sucked into fear and worried about things, but talk about these concepts in a positive manner with your kids. For me, being able to do that is really important. To I want them to be highly conscious in this world that they're facing, right, and not just operate out of fear. And I think a lot of these things can be very scary concepts if they just take it how it's fed to them, rather than exploring it and exploring themselves and how to navigate it, right?
Even how to think about it. It's always worthwhile if you can find out how your child or your children are actually thinking about something, because it's pretty surprising. Those of us who are parents will know that you think, well, my child probably thinks this, and if you have that conversation with them, you find out they think something totally different.
Right,
and
why
it's surprising. Yeah.
Very interesting. So now you've got 2 books out. So third one, that's coming along?
Yeah, I'm working on the third one right now. So hopefully sometime in the next 18 months it'll be ready. it's I think the first one came out in 2013, and 2016. Oh my gosh! I started writing in 2013. Started writing it in 2013. Came out in 2016, and that's when we last spoke about the book. And the next one, hopefully, be out in the next year. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard. I mean, it's hard to do. I know, Marisa, you had some questions for Rayya in regards to her writing and inspirations.
Yeah. Well, I was just wondering, you did answer some of the questions right off the bat when you were talking about kind of what inspired you, and it was that, documentary you were watching. But do you, I was also, from a settings perspective and character perspective, I understand you like to travel, and, you've lived in, or, at least traveled with different people and places, and you've met different people along the way. Have you had, different, whether it be for the setting or the character or things that inspired you, or places or people?
A lot of a lot of the first book takes place in Virginia, and that's where I grew up, in Northern Virginia, outside D.C. And the second book, then, I wanted to go to South America just based on research and what happens in the second book. And so my husband and I went on a trip to Peru and went to Machu Picchu and the Sacred Valley. And so there's a lot of that in the second book. And the third book is, I don't want to give anything away, but we get into outer space a little bit more. So, and I haven't obviously gone there, but researching it a lot. So
it's like
I know you stumped me a little bit there, because I thought I know you stumped me a little bit there, because I was thinking, okay, great. So you can say, hey, this is a cool place to go, and then I'm going to do some research there. I have to travel there, and then I'm going to write about it. But when you said outer space, I was like,
Hey, call Elon Musk, man. Call Elon Musk, or Richard Branson may have it together on that. I think I'd like to see Richard Branson and Elon Musk work together.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Wouldn't that be interesting?
God, amazing.
That would be fun to watch.
Yeah, I know. I'd love to see that. Well, now, Marisa, I know you and Gunnar have traveled all over. Have you been to Peru? Is that a place that you've been to?
No, that's on the bucket list. So, whenever I hear about, it looks spectacular, though.
Oh, it's such an incredible place, yeah.
Did you do the big hike up through all the ruins, like all the way up?
We didn't do the full hike, but we hiked through Machu Picchu and did a lot of the, it was just like, we did a lot when we were there in this very short amount of time. The whole Sacred Valley is really incredible.
I think it's also neat, in the Element book, Seneca Society Element, Dora's connection to her father, and you bring that in too. So there's this whole family side of things, and that was interesting. And it feels like, it's like, can you explain this part of it in the book? I don't want to give things away. This is the danger of of talking about books and reading them. And there's like this way of communication where it's like a hologram where they talk through, like they're jumping into each other's space, right?
Mhm. So maybe you're referring to the flexor where they can.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a phone, but they can communicate with each other, and it's kind of a holographic 3D interface.
Yeah, with FaceTime. It's like hologram FaceTime.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
I want that. Like it becomes.
So do I.
See, that's the thing. Do you read up on techie stuff? Like, because I don't, even my cell phone, I'm like, what? I don't know. It's a smartphone. It's a cell phone. It's a whatever phone. It's like, oh, please. And people are like, oh, it does this, this, this. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't even know if I want to know. So, but this is the thing I want to say about, reading your books. If you're not, tech-minded, you're still going to dig it. It's super cool, and it takes you on little voyages and makes you think. So, doing all the technical side, I think a lot of times that gets shoved onto men, like anything that's technical. It's like that's the guy side of things, and that's not necessarily right or true. There's a lot of women techies out there. But do you keep up with that kind of geek stuff?
I do. I read a lot of it. My husband reads a ton of it, and we like to talk about that kind of thing. But I did go and see this guy who is a really cool, he's a speaker. I went to this, it was like an event at an all-girls school here called Lorena, and somebody randomly invited me to it, and I went to it. And he was talking about the difference in learning between the girl's brain and the boy's brain, and how the reason why boys excel in STEM, because, you know, girls and boys can be equally talented in the STEM fields, but what happens is if there's like a problem-solving situation and you have the girls and the boys in the same room, the boys, and they measure this by like testing gray matter in the brain and seeing that the girls, if there's a problem and the boys can figure it out in a straight line without becoming emotional about it, but girls will become emotional and it will cloud seeing the problem through where they could, but the boys become driven by testosterone and they just completely will see the problem through, whereas the girls will become frustrated, right? And so that kind of thing carries through into high school, where girls are not nurtured through that frustration. And so it's finding ways to see that frustration when it's happening and learning how to align and grow through it. I don't know. I thought that was a really interesting thing, and I've been trying to apply that to, you know, like my third grade daughter when she's doing math. She'll get really frustrated, but she's really good at math. So I try and we try and work through that, because I think that over
you
time.
You identify it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting. My mom had 3 boys and 3 girls. That's a lot of kids. And she'd said to me once, as an adult, when I'm an adult, she says to me, you know, when I had Lisa, she said, well, hang on to your hat. Let me just tell you that boys are far easier to raise than girls. And she just really thought that girls were really difficult and boys were really easy.
It's like cats versus dogs.
And maybe
no, that people are dogs. Oh, now I'm going to get in trouble.
It's funny, you know, and I don't know if it's true or it isn't, because I've only got Lisa, and so I didn't have a boy to see if my mom was right or wrong.
But I was very easy.
But it's interesting, you know, that I think that girls are more complicated.
Uh-oh. I know. I think we are. I think it's interesting because they also say now that, you know, women multitask and girls multitask, and that we shouldn't be multitasking. And I go,
right. I
know. It's like, but I want to.
I don't think we can do it any other way, right? I mean, I think it's, Rayya, like you had said, right, when you had your, and I found this a really interesting comment, but most women struggle with this, right? You have your career, you have children, you know you're a wife, and you want to be the best at everything that you can be. And so, you know, we've got like 50 things going on. You're thinking like, okay, I got to write this part of the book, and I got to call this person, but quick, let me put like the laundry in and like start this. You know, how do you not multitask? It's kind of, I think it's just so innate in who we are that it's. We couldn't. Yeah. I don't think I could live any other way. I feel like
and have a dialogue going in our brain at the same time.
Well,
so you could be doing different things, but you also have your brain going. And that's at Doro. That she's got that 100%, man. She's often running with the dialogue in her her mind. She's thinking things through and problem solving and emotionally feeling things and that's where I wonder about the multitasking. As women, we are doing like multiple things physically, right? But at the same time, we could be multitasking in our brain on top of that with problem solving, and then we're doing the emotional side too. So, Rayya, with that part, do you think that's part of the frustration is we bring the emotion in?
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm a terrible multitasker, and also I don't think for me, it's not really conducive to the creative process. So I need to be completely switched off from everything in order to get in the zone and write.
Really?
And then, yeah, absolutely. I need to just I need silence, and there's different phases. Like with research, I could jump around, but when I'm actually creating and writing, I just need to be in that zone, and that's it. And so I can't do that when anyone else is in the house, or when if I can't hop on a call and then go back into the creative space. It's just a completely different part of my brain. So when I get in that phase of not having that space and being able to do that, then that creates another pressure. And there's just, there's a lot. It's like when you're juggling all your stuff from kids' school and you want to do a great job at that, then you lose, for me, I lose that part of myself, and just had to kind of come to terms with all of it and figure out, be really specific with my schedule and, learn how to say no to things and do the things that are really important.
Yeah, that's interesting. Nancy and I always have that balance of creative issue too, because it's like we're in and out. We'll be doing radio shows, and that's the creative side too. But it's to go from this, and obviously after champagne, and then it's okay, go write an article, and I'll be no way, my brain is jumping now. Once it gets into that zone, it's why we walk in the morning. For me, I like to see the sunrise because it sets my zone, and then I go in and do things, and I can create better. But there's this, I don't know, to sometimes the in and the out, that's what we always call it. If you're out and about with people, and then to go in the in part, it's really hard to kind of
calm down.
Yeah. We're too hyper.
And center your thoughts back on, okay, now I'm going to write something. When, everything you've done all day is playing in your mind.
Yeah. That's a really hard thing to do. And to set time and say, okay, you're going to do it. But do you practice that? Do you have to kind of this is the only time I have, so I'm doing it?
Yes. At this point, yeah. I mean, it was a struggle for a while, and I didn't like doing I didn't like that I wasn't fully, I wasn't mastering my craft, and I wasn't fully doing the best job as a mom. I wasn't, in the, volunteering and on field trips. It's just you start getting these pressures. It's oh my gosh, it's there's, I was starting to feel the effect of Pinterest moms and Valentine's, and you know what I mean? It's there's just so much, and you can't do it all, right?
Yeah.
I mean, so for me, it was just figuring it all out and what was important.
Because I think when you do something creative, it's beyond if you look at the natural world. Let's take a family of lions. The mom's going to go do the hunting because that's her job, but she's also got cubs, so she'll go out and hunt with other lionesses, and they all bring in their cubs, and they're walking around in the grass looking for something to eat. Whereas the males, their job is protection, and they don't have to worry about the cubs. They're just, something's happening. Oh, there's another lion coming into my line of vision. Let me go get him, and let me get a couple of buddies to go with me. It's rumble, It's different because here we are. You have all these jobs you do as a parent, and then try to do something creative on top. And maybe nature didn't exactly design it so you'd have the time to do it.
I think we're evolving into different things, So it's interesting. Real quick, Marisa, because you design, your bags, your wine purses, and the fashion and the style. So do you have to have a creative zone for that? And do you sketch, or do you do it on a computer?
Ray, I think that was a really good point. You're right. There are times and places, I find that, when my kids were younger and, less in school, that, I really would stay up super late because it wasn't until they went to bed that I think I could get into that creative space. And I find myself still doing that. Either I wake up really early in the morning and I start to write, or I'll or design the purses or whatnot, and sometimes the hardest part is getting yourself into the zone, and it for me it seems like a time just knowing that no one else is around, like you're saying, and so I can just concentrate on that. Is there anything you do? I mean, I hope you don't mind me taking your question, Lisa, and turning it into a question for Rayya, but I'm really curious, like, how have you, is there a way that you get yourself into the zone? Like, is there a place that you sit, or is there,
Well, what you're just saying about staying up late, I used to stay up really late before I had kids, and I loved writing at night and being a night owl, and I had to completely recalibrate myself to be a morning person. I'm still not, it's just not natural for me to be a morning person, but, when I find that when I wake up in the morning, and my friend Lisa has always said this to me about waking up and setting intentions and either reading or just writing first thing rather than looking at any news or going on my phone and getting, you know what I mean? Like, if I want to be creative, then it's really important to not look at my phone and not do any social media or news first thing in the morning, to get up and make lunches for my kids, get everybody out the door, and then do either read or write first thing in the day. When, you come out of that, your subconscious mind and sleep, when your brain is doing its thing, and then it's like you wake up and it's super spongy, and that's I think you have to go with that. For me, that's what I have to go with, rather than the end of the day. And I've been out there in the world and picking up my kids from school and doing homework and all this kind of stuff. By the end of the day, I'm fried, and really I just want to watch bad TV.
Right.
Oh, I like that.
Find yourself a schedule.
Mindless.
Yeah,
TV.
you got to have the and what's this with street tacos? You got to have you like street tacos?
I do, yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
so what's
absolutely do.
Hey, street food is good food, but what is your favorite? What's the favorite for you?
You mean in terms of the street food or LA tacos?
Yeah. What would you try to pick up?
Gosh, I mean, okay, so I love when you stumble across just a taco vendor, after being out to dinner downtown or something like that. But there's a taco place on Tujunga in the City Valley Village area called Henry's.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just awesome. It's been around forever. I just love their tacos and their tostadas. If you ever make it to that area, it's right a couple blocks from the original Brady Bunch house. So.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. That's awesome. That's awesome.
Oh, that is funny.
Well, listen, Rayya, thank you so much for joining us. It's been a fun conversation,
Sure.
And we've got into the zone. We've talked about parenting, creativity, technology, teaching. I mean, we've covered a lot of ground here. And, of course, your
fun.
books.
Thanks.
And everyone, the books, again, it's the Seneca Society, and you can go to her website, senecasociety.com. Both of them are out now. So you got Seneca Rebel, Seneca Element, and Rayya's also on Twitter at Rayya Deeb, and that's Rayyadeeb, Rayya Deeb on Twitter. She's on Instagram, Facebook. So go Facebook at Seneca Society. So connect with her there.
Yeah, I'm not on
Amazon.
Facebook, but the book is, yeah.
Yeah. So, and Amazon download time. This is the best time. I mean, you could have a book club project. Ooh, have you done any book clubs?
I have. I've done a couple. I've done Skype calls with book clubs, and
cool.
I should say that the second book, Element, is free on Kindle for the next 4 days.
Go get it, everybody!
Yeah.
Go get it. Perfect time.
Perfect.
For sure. Yeah.
Excellent.
Well,
great hearing
Marisa?
more from you, Rayya. No,
Yeah.
it's so interesting. Great hearing more. I can't wait to read it.
Yeah.
And share
exactly.
with my kids for sure.
Exactly.
Thanks for having me back again. That was awesome.
Hey, you bet.
Sure.
It took us a while to get it all to work out, but check it out. Now we're daily with live shows. It's crazy what happens with the virus, right? Makes us drink more wine and have more guest fun. So that's Sad life. I'm just kidding, but thank you so much. Again, SenecaSociety.com, everyone, and keep us posted on book number 3.
I will. All right.
Thanks.
Very cool.
Take care.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.